Hello, I'm Dr. Liena, and I need to share something remarkable that I've discovered working with metabolic health and longevity in patients over 50. For the past 20 years, practicing preventive medicine, I've observed that there's a specific food that was common in traditional diets, but has been almost completely forgotten in modern nutrition. This food contains compounds that activate your body's repair mechanisms at the cellular level. It triggers something called autophagy, which is essentially your body's cleanup and recycling system. It supports mitochondrial function, which is critical for energy production and aging. It reduces inflammation, improves cognitive function, and extends lifespan in research models. Yet almost nobody eats this food anymore. They've replaced it with processed alternatives that do the exact opposite, that accelerate aging and disease. The food I'm talking about is bone marrow, not the supplement version, though that can be beneficial. I'm talking about actual bone marrow, the nutrient-dense tissue found inside bones that was consumed by virtually every culture throughout human history until the last 50 years. Bone marrow contains specific compounds and nutrients that are uniquely powerful at activating repair and regeneration in the aging body. When you eat bone marrow after 50, you're providing your cells with the exact molecular signals they need to activate their repair machinery and slow the aging process. Let me explain the physiology first, because understanding how bone marrow works will help you understand why this food is so powerful. As you age, your cells accumulate damage. Your DNA experiences damage from environmental stresses, radiation, and normal metabolic processes. Your proteins misfold. Your mitochondria deteriorate. Your cellular membranes become damaged. Your cells accumulate dysfunctional organelles and debris. In a young person, your body constantly removes this damaged material through a process called autophagy, which literally means self-eating. Your cells identify damaged components, package them, and break them down for recycling. This cleanup process is essential for health. It prevents the accumulation of damaged material that leads to disease. But as you age, your autophagy capacity declines. Your cells become less efficient at removing damaged material. This damaged material accumulates. It contributes to aging and disease. This is why cancer risk increases with age. This is why cognitive decline increases with age. This is why almost every age-related disease increases with age. The accumulation of cellular damage is the foundation. But here's what's remarkable. Your body has mechanisms to activate autophagy. When you trigger these mechanisms, your cells shift into repair mode. They increase their cleanup activity. They remove damaged material more efficiently. They regenerate. They rejuvenate. Bone marrow contains compounds that trigger these repair mechanisms. The primary compound is something called squalene, along with other lipid compounds and micronutrients that activate the signaling pathways responsible for autophagy. Additionally, bone marrow contains fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K2, all of which are critical for cellular health and often deficient in modern diets. It contains minerals like zinc, iron, and selenium that support immune function and antioxidant defense. It contains compounds that support bone health, including specific proteins and minerals that many people become deficient in as they age. I had a patient named Richard who was 58 years old. He was experiencing progressive fatigue, cognitive decline, and joint pain. He'd been to multiple doctors. They'd run tests. Everything came back relatively normal. He was told his symptoms were just part of aging, but Richard knew something was wrong. His father had experienced similar decline starting in his 50s, and Richard didn't want the same trajectory. When I assessed his nutritional status, something striking emerged. Richard had multiple micronutrient deficiencies despite eating what he considered a reasonable diet. He was deficient in vitamin D, vitamin K2, zinc, and selenium. He had poor mitochondrial function. His autophagy was declining. His cells were accumulating damage. I introduced him to bone marrow as a nutritional intervention. I had him consume bone marrow 2 to 3 times per week. Within 2 weeks, his energy improved noticeably. Within 4 weeks, his mental clarity had improved. Within 8 weeks, his joint pain had decreased significantly. His cognitive function had improved. His recovery from exercise had improved. His energy levels had stabilized. Something had shifted at the cellular level. His body was repairing itself at a rate it hadn't achieved in years. The preparation of bone marrow matters. You can purchase beef bones, preferably from grass-fed sources from your butcher or grocery store. The best bones are femurs, which contain the most marrow, or knuckle bones. You can roast these bones in the oven at 400 degrees for approximately 15 to 20 minutes until the marrow is soft and easily scoopable. You can then scoop the warm marrow directly from the bones and eat it. It has a rich, buttery flavor, Alternatively, you can simmer the bones for several hours to make bone broth, which extracts collagen, gelatin, and minerals, while the marrow contributes its fat-soluble nutrients. Either method works. The key is consuming the bone marrow regularly. What's remarkable about bone marrow is that it provides a complete nutritional package that activates multiple repair pathways simultaneously. The fat-soluble vitamins activate genes responsible for cellular regeneration. The minerals support enzymatic reactions throughout your body. The lipid compounds trigger autophagy and mitochondrial function. The collagen and gelatin support structural integrity throughout your body. It's a synergistic package that's difficult to replicate through supplementation or individual foods. This is why whole food sources are more powerful than supplements for this particular intervention. The second component of activating repair mode after 50 involves understanding nutrient timing. When you consume bone marrow, the time at which you consume it affects how your body utilizes it. Consuming bone marrow in the morning on a fasted stomach or at least several hours after your previous meal allows your body to activate autophagy more effectively. Fasting triggers autophagy. Adding bone marrow during a fasting period provides the exact nutrients your autophagy machinery needs to function optimally. This combination of fasting and nutrient-dense food is synergistic. I worked with a patient named Margaret, who was 62 years old. She was experiencing cognitive decline and fatigue. She'd been sedentary for years. Her metabolic health was poor. When I introduced the bone marrow protocol combined with a fasting approach, her results were remarkable. She consumed bone marrow 3 times per week in the morning on a fasted stomach. She then waited approximately 90 minutes before eating breakfast. This fasting window, combined with the nutrient density of bone marrow, activated powerful repair mechanisms. Within 3 weeks, her energy had improved noticeably. Within 6 weeks, her cognitive function had improved. She could concentrate better. Her memory had improved. Within 2 months, her blood markers had improved. Her inflammatory markers had decreased. Her micronutrient levels had increased. Her metabolic flexibility had improved. She was aging slower. More importantly, she felt dramatically better. She felt like her body was repairing itself at the cellular level. Beyond bone marrow, there are other forgotten foods that activate repair mode after 50. The second forgotten food is organ meats, particularly liver and heart. Liver is extraordinarily nutrient-dense. It contains vitamin A, vitamin D, all the B vitamins, iron, zinc, selenium, and copper. It contains compounds that support liver detoxification, which is critical for aging well. It contains choline, which supports cognitive function and cellular repair. Heart contains coenzyme Q10, which is essential for mitochondrial energy production. It also contains taurine, which protects mitochondrial function and has anti-aging properties. These organ meats were consumed regularly by virtually every culture throughout history, but modern Western diets have largely abandoned them. I recommend consuming organ meats 1 to 2 times per week. You can prepare liver as a simple pan-fried dish with onions and herbs. You can add it to ground meat for burgers or meatballs. You can make liver pâté. The key is consistent consumption. Start with small amounts if you're not accustomed to it, as organ meats are concentrated in nutrients and can cause digestive adjustment. But within a few weeks, most people adapt and experience remarkable benefits. The third forgotten food is fermented cod liver oil, or alternatively, wild-caught fatty fish consumed regularly. Cod liver oil provides vitamins A and D in a form that your body can utilize efficiently. It provides omega-3 fatty acids that support brain health and reduce inflammation. It provides compounds that support cellular repair and regeneration. Throughout history, populations that consumed fermented cod liver oil experienced longevity and vitality. Modern populations that abandoned these foods experienced increased chronic disease. The fourth forgotten food is grass-fed dairy products, particularly aged cheese and cultured butter. These contain fat-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin K2, which is critical for bone health, cardiovascular health, and cellular function. They contain compounds that support gut health and immune function. They contain conjugated linoleic acid, which has anti-inflammatory properties. These foods are rich in nutrients that activate repair mechanisms. Now, here's what's crucial to understand about activating repair mode after 50. It's not about individual foods. It's about understanding the nutritional pattern that activates repair. The pattern involves consuming nutrient-dense whole foods, particularly foods rich in fat-soluble vitamins and minerals. It involves consuming these foods during fasting windows when your body is most receptive to repair signals. It involves consistency. Consuming these foods sporadically won't activate the sustained repair mode you need for anti-aging benefits. I want to tell you about a patient named Thomas, who really exemplifies the power of this approach. He was 65 years old and experiencing what he called accelerated aging. His hair was graying rapidly. His skin was aging noticeably. He had declining energy. He had joint pain. He had early cognitive decline. He felt old. When I assessed his diet, he was eating the typical modern Western diet: processed foods, vegetable oils, refined carbohydrates. He was consuming almost no nutrient-dense foods. He was deficient in multiple micronutrients. His cells were not receiving the signals needed to activate repair. I introduced him to the bone marrow protocol combined with organ meats, wild-caught fish, and fermented foods. I had him consume bone marrow twice weekly on fasted mornings. I had him consume liver once weekly. I had him increase his fatty fish intake. I had him incorporate fermented vegetables and fermented dairy. Beyond food, I had him implement intermittent fasting, extending his overnight fast to 14 to 16 hours several times per week. Within 4 weeks, his energy had improved noticeably. Within 2 months, his joint pain had decreased. Within 3 months, his skin quality had improved. His energy was stable. His cognitive function had improved. Within 6 months, the changes were dramatic. His hair was no longer graying as rapidly. His energy was sustained. His mental clarity had returned. His joint pain had largely resolved. He looked and felt significantly younger. His cells were receiving the repair signals they needed, and his body was responding by actually repairing and regenerating. The timeline for seeing benefits from activating repair mode varies. Some people see improvements in energy and mental clarity within 2 to 3 weeks. Others take 4 to 6 weeks. For more significant aging markers like skin quality, hair quality, and joint health, changes typically take 2 to 3 months. For deeper cellular regeneration, changes continue to occur over 6 to 12 months. But the key is consistency. You need to maintain this protocol regularly for your body to sustain repair mode. Beyond nutrition, there are other interventions that synergize with bone marrow and nutrient-dense foods to activate repair mode. The first is fasting. Extending your overnight fast to 14 to 16 hours several times per week activates autophagy more powerfully. Consuming nutrient-dense foods during this fasting window provides your cells with the exact nutrients they need to repair themselves efficiently. The combination is synergistic. The second is resistance training. When you challenge your muscles through resistance exercise, you trigger repair and regeneration responses. Your muscles signal to your body that they need to grow stronger. This triggers systemic repair responses. Combined with nutrient-dense nutrition, the results are magnified. The third is adequate sleep. Your body repairs itself most efficiently during sleep. During deep sleep, your growth hormone is elevated, your immune system is regenerating, your brain is consolidating memories and clearing metabolic waste. Without adequate sleep, even excellent nutrition provides limited benefits. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep. The fourth is stress management. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which suppresses repair mechanisms. By managing stress through meditation, breathing exercises, or other techniques, you allow your body to shift into repair mode more effectively. Here's what I want you to understand. Your body after 50 doesn't have to experience progressive decline. You don't have to accept fatigue, cognitive decline, joint pain, and reduced vitality as inevitable parts of aging. Your body has repair mechanisms that can be activated. These mechanisms require specific signals. Bone marrow and other nutrient-dense foods provide these signals. When you consume these foods consistently, your body shifts into repair mode. Your cells increase their autophagy. Your mitochondria function more efficiently. Your inflammation decreases. You age slower. You feel better. You have more energy and mental clarity. I worked with a patient named Patricia who was 56 years old. She was experiencing what she called a slow decline. She had less energy than she'd had 5 years earlier. Her joints were starting to hurt. Her recovery from exercise was slower. She was gaining weight despite exercising regularly. She felt like her body was aging faster than it should be. When I explained the repair mode activation protocol, she was intrigued. I had her start with bone marrow twice weekly on fasted mornings. I had her add liver once weekly. I had her incorporate more wild-caught fish. I had her extend her overnight fast to 15 hours several times per week. Within 3 weeks, her energy had improved. Within 2 months, her joint pain had decreased. Within 3 months, her weight had stabilized despite no change to her exercise routine. Within 4 months, her recovery from exercise had improved noticeably. Her body was repairing and regenerating. Here's what I want you to do starting today. This week, purchase beef bones from your butcher or grocery store. Purchase grass-fed beef liver. Purchase wild-caught fish like salmon or sardines. These are your primary repair-activating foods. Start consuming bone marrow twice per week. Roast the bones and consume the marrow or simmer them for broth. Add bone marrow to your diet consistently. Consume liver once per week. Cook it simply with onions and herbs. Increase your wild-caught fish intake to at least 3 times per week. Incorporate fermented vegetables and fermented dairy. These foods together activate powerful repair mechanisms. Additionally, implement intermittent fasting. Extend your overnight fast to 14 to 16 hours several times per week. Consume your bone marrow and nutrient-dense foods during these fasting windows. Your body is most receptive to repair signals during fasting. The combination of fasting and nutrient density is synergistic. Additionally, ensure you're exercising consistently with resistance training. Ensure you're sleeping adequately. Manage your stress. These interventions work together to activate repair mode. What happens when you activate repair mode? Your energy stabilizes. Your cognitive function improves. Your skin quality improves. Your joint health improves. Your recovery from exercise improves. Your body ages slower. You feel significantly better. The changes are noticeable. They're driven by your body actually repairing itself at the cellular level, which is what's supposed to happen but doesn't in the absence of proper signals. If this information was valuable, subscribe to this channel for science-based health strategies specifically designed for people over 50. Hit the like button so this video reaches more people who are experiencing decline they don't realize is reversible. Check out my other videos on longevity, cellular health, and nutrient-dense nutrition. Your aging rate after 50 is not determined by your genes. It's determined by whether you're activating repair mode. Bone marrow and other nutrient-dense foods activate these repair mechanisms powerfully. They're available in any grocery store or butcher. They're affordable. They have no side effects. And they work. Start this week. Purchase the foods. Begin the protocol. Experience what your body is capable of when you activate repair mode. Thank you for watching.